earlier this. Okay, this is a recording that I did with Amy Horn, who is retired from NAU as an assistant professor and the director of the art department up there. She also worked in a high school, and she talks about that a little bit. We talk about that a little bit in the movie that you're going to watch. She wasn't able to be to this on this night, so we recorded it earlier, and the feedback is there for you to hear. And we'll be introducing all the images that made it into the showcase. Um, and you can take a look at yours and others. Those of you who got a call from me know that you have at least one image in there already. So congratulations. It's going to be fun and exciting. Opening night on the 7th of December at Wham. Um, Hopefully you guys are working on getting your images printed and coordinating with myself or one of the other committee members on picking it up or getting it delivered to their place, wherever they need you to deliver it to. Because we do need to hang those on the 1st of December. And if you can't deliver it to us before then, you will have to show up on the 1st of December at Wham so you can get your image hung. And you're welcome to come and help hang. And we will be directing some questions towards David. He's going to give us some ideas on pricing towards the end of at the end of the little slideshow here. So without further ado, we're going to get going and welcome. Welcome, AZPPA. This is the Gallery Showcase Reveal. And with me is our jury, Amy Horn, and she is been in photography since, oh gosh, I've known her quite a while. She started out when I first met her. She was a yearbook advisor up at Coconino High School, right? And
Yep.
then she moved on to NAU and taught photography, and she was the assistant teaching professor and head of the department,
Yes.
kind of. How long or how many trips did you do for Arizona Highways Photoscapes?
So for 11 years, I started off as a volunteer and did many trips as a volunteer. And then like 2 years in, I started teaching the workshops. So I don't I don't recall how many I did. I used to do it. When I was teaching, I used to teach approximately 20 a year, but some were just 1 day workshops. So
Mhm.
not the grand Northern Arizona or
Right,
anything.
right. So she does have a wealth of photography knowledge and art knowledge as well. So she's going to be very thorough in reviews of our images.
No, I think this is a great, exciting opportunity for you all to share your images in a gallery setting. There's nothing more fun than having it on display and letting others enjoy. So thanks for this opportunity.
Okay, so I will play the images and I will read the title. I know it's on the screen, but I'll read the title because sometimes that can help. So here we go. All paths lead to the mountains.
This image I think would be great in a gallery. Some strengths of the image are the interest with all the leading lines. It's got some really nice light and shadow. And it's got a more advanced composition where the horizon is so far up to the top of the image, so it really accentuates that foreground. It's really nice and sharp, just a really fun image.
Great. Bad boy.
Yeah, I think this is another great one for a gallery. It's got some really nice light. And I think personally, I'm not sure I like the crop at the top of the head quite as much, but otherwise, I think it really is a beautifully lit portrait and really nice expression, nice tight crop. I think this will work well in the gallery.
Okay. Alone in the mist.
Boy, this one really would be an example of a wow factor because you have all the different components. You've got great composition with where the egret is there, as well as the mood from the weather and the fog. You've got a nice use of contrast with color with the white bird and the more muted tones otherwise. So just a really excellent image.
Best of Seattle.
Another strong image for the gallery setting, great example of light and using, I guess I'll say layering between the city itself as well as Mount Rainier in the background, just enough light on that. Great reflections, really nice, rich black and white tones for a black and white image as well.
By any other name.
Okay. An intriguing image. It took me a little bit to kind of connect with it, trying to figure out the direction the artist was going here, but really love that dispersion effect or splatters. Kind of almost reminded me of blood or something like that. Very fun image. Yep, I think that would work in a gallery.
Bug box.
Really intriguing image for me. I tend to get more into abstracts and such like that. And I feel there's just so much to look at here. It's designed, yet it has so many different components to it. But you've got really nice examples of light and dark, and just a great example of a black and white image and something kind of fun.
Cartwheels.
Love the play on the title with this one and the work in the computer. Again, I was immediately thinking from a distance that it was more of a roller coaster ride, and such a pleasant surprise to see the different carts in there. Great image. Really like the use of kind of that semicircle in the bottom, and so you've got a nice combination of a little bit of negative space as well as a little bit of the busier part of the carts. So it really leads the eye nicely from that right-hand corner. Great image.
Hot.
Okay. So I really love light and how the individual sprig is captured there. But for a gallery setting, I think the way it's rendering here, I can see a little bit of the touch-up, the cloning tools in the background. So a couple black streaks that I think for it to really show in a gallery, it'd be better if that was softened a bit or otherwise. But the light is really neat. It's got an interesting design to it, nice little kind of curve and great detail.
Curious baby baboon.
Great capture. It's always nice when you find animal pictures that you can get images of them showing some of their behaviors. It's a nice tight crop. There's connection with the eye. The background's nice and soft. I think the highlights could possibly be softened just a little bit, just brought down a little bit more. So you, well, I guess yeah, just soften the highlights a little bit more. I think it'd be a little more pleasing, but I think this is still a great image for a gallery setting.
Decisions, decisions.
Okay. Yeah, really nice detail shot of a squirrel, and kind of got a nice little play off, probably, humans feeding the squirrel, I would guess. But some strengths of the image are the shallow depth of field. We can, again, really connect with the squirrel itself. The photographer's at the same level as the squirrel. The background being brighter can take away a little bit from the squirrel. So if it's put in a gallery setting, you could possibly, bring down the highlights just a little bit, maybe in the background, so the squirrel pops a little more. But a really nice detailed, focused photo. I think that'll work.
Desert storm.
I love the mood of this photo. It does have kind of a centered horizon, which often we avoid, but because the clouds have so much power in this image as well, I think I know it's not totally a centered composition. It's a little bit more in the bottom third, but it's closer to the center. But I think it's got such interesting textures in here. I think this would look really nice in the gallery. It could be maybe slightly over processed in just a little too much contrast, or that could be hard to print. But I think the image is really nice. Great mood.
Desert silhouette.
Okay. Yeah, really love the strong sense of subject here and just that hint of light in the sunset. I like that it's a silhouette, but I also think if there was just a little bit more detail on the shadows, especially if this ends up being printed for the gallery, I think it could be a very strong image for the gallery. But I think the printing with some of the dark tones, you could end up getting what we call blocking, where a lot of the blacks kind of run in together, and it'd be harder to see some of those details in a gallery setting. But I love the dominant subject here and the light. Mhm.
Determined, gonna be a cowgirl.
Great title and great image. Really nice use of light and tight crop, simple background. Just really nice kind of framing with the wood. Love it.
Dogfight.
Another intriguing photo and just kind of makes you laugh. I think for me, the highlight was noticing the thumbs are still thumbs instead of paws in this image. Yeah, I love the imagination of the photographer, the kind of the symmetry with from being in the cockpit. The only thing for me that could possibly be modified is the back right corner. It almost looks like it's the same little cloud or whatever duplicated. It almost looks like a duplication there in the Photoshop work. But really like the light on the dog's face, the expression, and just the whole illustration.
Dress rehearsal.
Okay. Beautiful light and capture of the dog. But for me, the whole left side being so much negative space, I don't know that that's needed. For it to be in a gallery, I think you want to be able to really kind of get to the subject a little bit quicker. So I think I would minimize some of that all of that negative space, like maybe cut some of that in half. I think you could still have just as strong of an impact because you have beautiful light, great detail on the dog and the flowers.
Ear of the wind, sheep herding.
Okay. Love the capture of this and, you know, the history of Arizona aspects of it and up in Monument Valley. Great technical image. For a gallery setting, I think it will work. For composition in general, one thing that keeps drawing my eye away from the sheep herding is that top left-hand side of the image where there's the dark shadow and how it touches the edge and the two little light areas. That keeps drawing my eye to the top left-hand corner instead of where you want the viewer to really look is, you know, with the sheep herder and the sheep. Great location though, and really nice piece of Arizona history here that would be on display.
Feathered royalty.
Okay. Love these jays. They're so beautiful. Nice light. I think this will work in the gallery, but I think if the background were a little less bright or possibly a little more out of focus, I think it would really make the blue jay pop even more. Really love the snag that it's standing on. Has a lot of nice interest and light on that as well.
Geisha.
Just a stunning image and the use of textures in the background. Just beautiful light, great position in the frame and posing. Yeah, love it.
Get away from my lunch.
Great title, great title. Love the action and the timing of this. You can even see the splashes, so the stop action is fantastic. I think this will go well in the gallery. I think for a gallery setting, you could also, it looks to me like maybe it has a little more sharpening, at least in what's my style, that I think sometimes it kind of is a little distracting with some of the sharpening. But overall, just a really fun image and nice tight crop, long lens, I hope.
I hope. Glacial blue.
Okay. Love the tones in this image. And then with the person, it really shows a great sense of scale and the fact that they have an ice axe there too. You know, the crevasse there in the center is a little bit scary. Someone standing so close, but The use of line is really nice, just draws you straight into that person and the sense of scale and these great tones. This should look nice in the gallery.
Gorilla bully, help me.
Another strong image of animals where you capture the behaviors very nicely. Love that one that's saying help me, got their mouth open a little bit too, so you have a little variation in color. Eyes are connecting, nice soft background, just a fun image. Nice.
Hydrangea.
Okay. Love the painterly feel. I know not some people prefer more realistic, but I think as a nice abstract and something I could see this in a kitchen or a bathroom. Really nice detail with the lights and darks, although they're subtle. Yeah, this will be great in the show.
Icy Bay.
Okay. Really great use of a sun star. And timing. You've just got such lovely light going across the different ice, the breakup of the ice, nice wide use of a wide angle lens too, great texture in the clouds. You couldn't ask for anything more. This will print beautifully, I would guess.
The inn at the end.
The first thing that came to mind for me on this is whimsical. Love the whimsical aspect of this. And the imagination, the use of light, even the light coming out onto the street was just very well thought out. The smoke coming out the top, I think of Mary Poppins as well when I look at this. And yeah, just a very fun image. Looks like it belongs in almost a children's book.
Korean pianist.
Excellently lit portrait. I love that the piano is in the image too, and there's just enough light on the keys just to get that sense of place. But the image is about the pianist himself, and that light is just exquisite. And when you're dealing with a black jacket and a dark background, you still have just enough light on the jacket, so there is a difference between the background and the jacket, which is not easy to do with black. Very well done.
Lady in the Lake.
Okay. Um, for me, the interest of this is actually the person. The person really kind of connects, and because of the position in the frame, I then am looking out across the scene, across the lake. For a gallery setting, the blacks might be a little bit too dark. I'm afraid there might be some problems with printing where, again, kind of it might block up together some. So you might want to do a couple test prints first. But I think it's got some interesting contrast and interesting, between the ripples in the water and the mountains, some really interesting textures.
An Instagram moment of an Instagram moment.
Yes.
Lake Louise.
Okay. Almost a symmetrical image is what comes to mind for me immediately, especially with the cloud shadow or reflection in the water in the center. Just kind of really divides that image. I think it'll work in the show. I also think it would have been interesting if a circular polarizer had been used, because then all of those rocks in the foreground wouldn't have had some of that reflection. I think it could have been an interesting variation on the scene, but you definitely feel the cold of Lake Louise here.
Good information. Left, right, center.
I will never think of that game any differently. Never think of that game the same. I mean, great title and really fun image. Nice light, great interpretation, and yeah, nice timing. Well done.
Little Red House.
Okay. Yeah, such an amazing use of, where we see that difference in scale of these mountains with that little tiny house and just how vast this valley is. And with the tones of the clouds and everything else, that the red house certainly pops out. So the title certainly fits it well. I love the light, how it's coming in right onto the house, really almost like a spotlight, making that really stand out, and just pleasing tones, and helps us to realize how small we are compared to that grand world out there.
Low tide sunset.
Okay. Image has some really nice color. And I think for a gallery setting, I think it could be a little more pleasing if the horizon wasn't quite so close to center. I think possibly pushing that a little bit off center more, or maybe even completely centered might be better. But it's just in that sort of in between stage. But there's some nice tones and some nice details in the rocks. I think even a little more foreground for future purposes could have been, really led someone into this rock. But it's got some fun color.
Maze.
And I have to say, I really studied this one hard, trying to figure out what this is. So I'm going to just poke a guess out there, and John will have to get back to me. So I was wondering if this was, hold on, there we go. Like some kind of plasma cutter with the fluid or something on it. I'm just curious, I'm just intrigued because my eye, you've got a great use of line and direction. So my eye is following that, and then that contrast in textures from the big lines versus a small, more webby type look. And then of course you've got the circles in there too. This is certainly my kind of image. I love the abstract stuff, but I think it's well done, and I am very curious what it is. So I look forward to hearing from John, unless he knows right now.
I don't know right now, but we'll find out.
Okay. All right. Fun one for the gallery.
Yeah. Monument Valley.
Okay. Yeah, another great Arizona history type image. Great perspective of looking down at the valley, as well as you've got some great clouds in there. For a gallery setting, for me, it feels like the clouds are a little off color compared to the land. They look just a little off color. I'm not sure if the toning is quite right there. But I think it's a great moment, and really nice example of, Arizona and what we have to offer in this state.
And Monument Valley.
Okay. And this one, the colors really work for me on this one. I know it's a little bit more of a centered horizon, but again, you have that a little bit of the balance between the rocks in the front and then these clouds in the background. The clouds do look like maybe they're a little bit over contrasted or oversaturated or something. They've got very defined edges to them. So for a gallery, you might want to tone that, alter that just slightly. But again, it's a really neat image showing the rainstorm here and in these vast areas that we have in our state.
Mud Flats.
And my abstracts, I love all these abstracts. Yeah, great. I guess aerial view. I'm not sure if it's a drone. I'm assuming it's more of a drone. Love the colors, love the design to it. I think it'll print great. I think it'll look phenomenal in a gallery setting. The only thing that I wish were slightly different is that very bottom little line of creek or whatever. I wish it wasn't touching the edge of the frame. But other than that, it's just a really, really strong image.
My Tree of Life.
Okay. And it's fun going from such bright, vivid color to now this very high key look, very simple image. And some would say almost centered, but there's just enough little balance with the fence and these little sprigs of trees. I think the title really fits into it well too. That really plain white sky really works. Great detail on the tree. Yeah, I think this would be fun for the gallery.
Not Forgotten Buick.
Okay. I'm a big car fan, so I've gone to Bonneville Speed Week several times. Love some of these older cars. And this one's got some great details. And but for it to hang in a gallery, I think it might be better. It looks like colors have been desaturated and desaturated in a way that the greens for me just look really not pleasing. I think it could be amazing as a black and white, or even enhance some of the colors. I know some of the rust, maybe trying to have that rust pull out could be fun. It's a really nice sharp image. It's got kind of a fun angle. I think even a little wider frame wouldn't have been terrible either. But I think to hang in the gallery, possibly looking at the coloration might be something to look at, whether it's converting to black and white or leaving it in color. Just some of those greens look off to me.
Ocean spray.
Okay. Boy, I love the timing of this image to get such a massive splash and the height of it, and that you can just see the intensity of the ocean here. I think in a gallery setting, I'm afraid those highlights in the splashes might really, you might have a hard time printing those because it looks almost a little too bright there, like the highlights are blown out. For just general compositional things, I like that you put some foreground there, the rocks in the foreground. I wish there was just a little bit more though, because then you'd really have the depth of and really see the magnitude of that splash.
On Twilight Street.
Okay, another little whimsical one, but complete different feel. And I just love how the color has drawn our eye straight to that yellow house, where of course the street post is, or the street light is as well. And then there's just enough repetition of that yellow throughout that it just keeps my eye kind of in a little circle floating around the frame, looking at all of the different details. So very well created and executed.
Outside.
Okay. This one I don't think is going to work well for the gallery. I think it's an interesting scene and place, but I think there's too much in the frame. And with the dark shadow diagonal line, as well as the dark circle on the far left-hand side, I think those would be very hard to print. And then just the general composition, it seems like there's just so much there, but there's not a real strong subject. Had it been really zoomed in with a lens on just the dunes possibly, or maybe just one of the trees and the dunes, I think it would have been a stronger interest.
Pretty petals.
Okay. Another great example of kind of a simple flower image. I love the crop that it's not all in the image. You just have part of the flower. Looks like you've added either some textures or something to soften the background. I think it's just a really nice, pleasing image. Again, another great one to hang in a bathroom or kitchen or something like that. Yeah, this will be great for the gallery.
Peridot Mesa.
Okay. Got a lot of great images in this show about Arizona and what we have to offer. Yeah, I think this one will work great. I like that the horizon's so high up in the frame and we see all these brilliant colors. I mean, obviously, if you'd been there at late afternoon or earlier where a little more color in the clouds, that could have been, really a wow factor. But I think this is just a great, vast image of the beauty of Arizona.
Pile of rocks.
Wow. Love the use of the slow shutter speed, where you see the movement of the clouds, but such soft movement, and then the glass-like water and such detail. So it's got such great balance between light and dark, and the details of the rocks versus that soft, wispy area of the clouds. Beautiful image.
Pollinated.
Okay. Another kind of dispersion effect type image. Really nice, pleasing, bright image. I like the design with the angle at which the stem is, and then the additional colors added behind the flower. I think those kind of add a little bit of a pop to it. And yeah, I think it'll be a very fun image.
Purple Sky Delight.
Okay. There we go. Strong subject. Who doesn't like haystack rock? Nice use of foreground. I like the colors. For some reason, I feel like some of the rock itself got maybe a little muted. That you know, to hang in the gallery, there you might want to add just a little more contrast right there, just to give it a slight bit more pop. But I think it's a very pleasing photo, and I'm impressed that you can actually capture this rock without people in the foreground.
Purple Passion.
Okay, another great image, detail in the flowers, some nice textures. Again, it's got this great crop. You really apply the rule of thirds, have a strong interest for the viewer. Yeah, this will look great in the gallery.
Red-eyed Tree Frog.
Oh, perfect placement of the frog as well as on this leaf or stem or whatever it is. The color combinations with the green and the red repeating and the soft background, just a stunning image. Great details.
Resilient.
Okay. Another great example of light on just a really simple subject. I feel it's a little, for a gallery setting, it's a little dwarfed in this frame. I think if it was cropped in a little bit more, it would resonate better within a gallery setting. But with that, it's got just beautiful light. Love the kind of S curve of the base of the sprig, I guess I'll call it. And then, you know, that simple S curve, and then you have a lot more detail. I just want to see it a little bigger, want to get it a little closer to me.
Runway Couture.
Okay. Very fun image, great pose of the model and placement. I even like the shadows in the foreground. It just kind of helps draw your eye to her, as well as then the plane is so large in the frame. The black stripe on the left side, I'm not sure if that is supposed to serve a purpose, but I think in a gallery it might be better if maybe that black stripe isn't there and it's just the photo itself. But yeah, very interesting, very simple, clean photo.
I think that was intended to be the edge of like sheet film.
Like film, that's what I was wondering. Okay.
Yeah.
It just didn't, okay. Okay.
Rural America.
Okay. This one I don't think will work as well in the show. It looks it's an interesting spot. You know, we do like our covered bridges here in America, but it looks like there's just no like contrast. I don't know if it was manipulated in post-production. It just looks pretty kind of flat. And then there's a very heavy vignette, especially in the foreground, but it's also visible in the background. I just think it's lacking some contrast that would make it really stand well in a gallery.
Scarlet Vengeance.
Okay. Excellent light, really nice portrait. Love the catch lights, love that although the model is looking away, we can still see the majority of the eyeball. Again, there's just enough separation between the background and the model. So it's, yeah, very pleasing photograph. Really nice.
Shadow Symmetry.
Just phenomenal, just really captures my eye. Such a great use of light and shadow. And although the shadows are dark, other than like the windows where they are totally black, I think there's still just enough detail. It may be a tougher one to print, but there is still detail in the shadows, and just love that symmetry. Just brilliant.
Shadow's Gate.
Okay. Who doesn't love our lovely canyons up in northern Arizona? Yeah, love the light, love the depth. You know, the break of light that's creating these shapes. And yeah, I think it's well framed, well positioned. I think it'll look great.
Sinuous succulent.
Love the lines of this image. And you've got such sharp focus on that first curve. I mean, part of me kind of wishes you had a little more focus on some of the other curves too, just because it's such a simple but interesting photo. Some of the strengths, definitely the light. You've got really beautiful light. And even though, you know, mostly just that one is really sharp focus, I think it will still be very interesting to have in the show.
Purple tower.
Okay. So things that I like about this, it's a nice sharp photo. It's very bright. It has good color. To hang in a show, I think maybe a little less centered. Maybe there's an alternate composition because of so many flowers there, it almost gets a little busy. And but I love again, the sharpness, the technical aspects. Your whites are not blown out, but there might be a, you know, slight crop or something like that to make it show in the gallery better.
Solitude in the sand.
Okay. Great example of sense of scale. So we have all these, you know, dunes, and then of course the mountains in the background, and then that perspective of that tiny person certainly makes the image. Love the soft tones as well, and the time of day. When it comes to, I think it'll be fine, and I think it'll be great in the show. One thing you might want to consider, I think, cropping a little bit from the top down, because you do have a lot of bright highlights in that top left-hand corner. That could be hard to print as well. But if you crop down a little bit from the top, I think it's just going to accentuate these different layers of the image and just have a stronger impact.
Sonoran sky.
Oh, lovely image. Um, Great color, great light on the superstitions there and in the sky as well. The foregrounds is one that's, again, a little dark when it comes to the printing aspects. So you may need to open up the shadows just a little bit so that you get some detail, so it doesn't turn too dark in the foreground. But really love the light, and yeah, I think it'll work well in the show.
Steps through time.
Boy, excellent use of line, and great detail and focus, and you've got, yeah, sharpness. You've got everything in this image. Yeah, love the leading lines and the spiral.
Studio portrait, circa 1976.
Okay, so this one I don't think is going to work as well in the show. I think it's gonna be harder for the viewer to connect, especially compared to everything else that we're seeing too. I think if it was just one of those individual portraits, especially of the two on the top, that would be different. But this seems like this would be better in more of a photojournalistic type show, or something that's a little more thematic in that regards.
Good information. Sunset sail.
Okay. Love the sunlight on the sailboat, but unfortunately that is like the tiniest part of the image. If there was a way to crop down in and just have it and the light in the sky, that would be great. I'm guessing the photographer didn't have a long enough lens to be able to capture it that way. But since 2/3 of the image is really the water and these posts, it just doesn't come across as the sunset image that you want. It's all very sharp and it's properly exposed, but that subject matter is just so tiny in the frame. I just don't think this would work as well in your show.
Surface of a bubble.
Fun image. Love the even light that's distributed across the bubble edge, and the fun colors and detail. Very exciting.
Okay. Tenacious.
Tenacious. Nice sharp image, definitely showing what I guess the treacherous side of plant life or something like that. I like the texture it's on in the background. Uh, I think this will work in the show. Uh, yeah, there's a little bit of noise, but maybe it's not really noise. It might even just be texture in the background and possibly to kind of draw the eye. Obviously, it's a shallow depth of field, which is the right way to capture it, so we can really see the subject.
Thunder and wonder.
Okay. Great timing. And I really like the use of line, both in the Thunderbolt and as well as the pathway there. So kind of playing off one another, but then it's balanced nicely with this tree. And of course, you've got some great light in the clouds as well. So fun image. Yeah, that'll be good in the show.
Trouble.
Yes, great timing. Oh my gosh, such detail and color. To me, it looks like it could have just a little too much contrast, maybe, and that's just more my preference. But love the focus, love the detail, and love the capturing the moment of capture, catching that tongue like that. Very well done. Yeah, this will be fun.
Uniting differences.
Okay. I think overall, this is really eye-catching because I know myself, I was just intrigued trying to figure out what's going on. Where I think it would be better for in a gallery, how it would be more attention getting is if it was cropped in a little bit tighter because your main subject is just so small in the frame. I think it cropping a little tighter could still give you that cloudy, foggy feel, misty feel in the background, but yet you could kind of zoom in a little bit more on the actual subject. Um, Very nice monochromatic image, though, otherwise.
Great information. Up, up and away. I was
Wow,
gonna, I
what a
was gonna,
great.
I was gonna sing that, but I decided not to.
Oh, come on, John, we want to hear you sing. Oh, such a great use of light. And for a black and white image to have such rich tones, and such emphasis on the larger of the balloons, the placement, and the light and dark, just stunning image. The sand dunes almost looks like clouds, so it's like these balloons above the clouds for me.
Veins of light.
Okay. Uh, if you're framing for a show, this one could be a little harder to frame because it's such an extreme crop. But I really like the design sense. Again, another nice S curve. The colors seem a little pushed, but I think it's still such an interesting photo and some great textures. And we do know those canyons have some lovely colors.
Waiting for treats.
Okay. Really nice light, nice detail. I think it could be really fun if they were catching the treat at that moment or something a little more to give it a wow factor, but I think this will still be fine for the show. Again, great detail, great light.
Wake maker.
Okay. Boy, not always an easy shot to capture and to light. If anyone's been around pools and such. So really love the stop action, love that the light is really complementing the subject and really helps that background just dissolve into almost nothing. Great detail, sense of nice use of kind of line as they're flowing through and good positioning of the arm. Great image. Not an easy one to capture.
A walk with mom.
Okay. Love the vast scene and that there's nice separation with the mom and the cubs compared to the rocks in the background and everything else. And you've got this nice little glow on the sand. I think it could even be a really interesting black and white image. But yeah, I really like the use of silhouette with these bears and how they're kind of leading into the frame and you have a lot of negative space on the left side. I think it works well.
Worn but mighty.
Okay. Great details of our Northern Arizona rocks, or I assume it's Northern Arizona. Uh, yes, all the nice little swirls and colors and striations that we see. I think this will work fine in your show in the gallery. It's got some really nice color between the blue sky. I think this could, if there was a little more sky, I think that would really help to kind of offer a little bit more negative space compared to all the lines that are going on. It would help balance the image a little bit more as well. But I think this will print nice.
Yellow pineapple.
All right, very fun image. Obviously very different from a lot of the others we've seen. But I love the bright tones to it and the creative aspects of dividing out the pineapple and the thought that was put into positioning the different pieces of the pineapple. I think the shadows work. I kept looking at it thinking, I wish the shadows were a little softer, or sometimes you see in food packaging where there's no shadows, but then it loses something when there's no shadows. So I think the shadows do end up working, and really love the bright colors and how it fills the space.
Well, I tell you what, that was our last image and wonderful, perfect. A lot of good information that you gave, Amy. Spectacular. Any parting words? And I know that you're speaking to AZPPA in April.
April, yep, April
Okay.
1st.
April
Yep.
2025, coming up pretty soon. So
Yes.
that'll be on macro photography, which you pointed out that you love a lot.
Yeah.
So that's great. I mean, we loved having you, and hopefully we'll see you there. And
I'm gonna try. I'm,
okay,
yep, still working out my December schedule, but I
okay,
am gonna try.
all right. Well,
Yeah,
thank you
thanks
so
for the
much.
opportunity. It was great to see the creativity and what everyone's shooting these days. It was
Okay,
fun.
perfect. And there you go. How about a round of applause? Everybody have to turn on their mics though, so we can hear them. So
Woo.
good job, everybody. Some incredible images in there. Thank you so much for participating. Like I said, Amy will be teaching a class in macro photography in April next year, and she is planning to be at our show, our gallery showcase in December. So let's keep our fingers crossed with that happening. She has a busy schedule sometimes, and she gets assignments last minute. So let's hope she can clear some time for us to be there. And you can ask her just what the heck she was talking about if she didn't like your image as much as you thought she would. But so questions. Who has some questions, guys? I know everybody, I think, has reached out to Parkwood or is taking care of their own printing. And we're coordinating some places for you guys to drop those off. We talked about that before the slideshow. So what questions do you have?
Where are the places to drop off the prints?
Okay, that should have been in that letter that went out to you guys, congratulating you.
Oh, okay, I'll take a look.
Look at the addresses there, and I'm not sure what part of the city you live in, but we have Andrew will be collecting them. I will be collecting them. Nancy will be collecting them, and Paul Bartel will be collecting them. So we're kind of in all four quadrants of the Phoenix area. I know that I've made arrangements with some out of town people, or they've made arrangements with others for getting their images up to us. So if you do have any questions or have any special requests, let me know. Give me a call or Andrew. If you don't find those addresses, let me know because we'll send, definitely Nancy will probably, or somebody will send that letter out again.
I think you had phone numbers, John, but not addresses. So
No, 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 because some of us might not want to do the addresses.
yeah,
We might say, hey, we're going to be at Starbucks at whatever, between 12 and 2 or something on a certain date. So just, you can call the person that's in your area. I think she has them divided by areas. Um, and we'll figure that out. What else? Questions?
This is Dave Fudge. If you have, if you can put the share on, I can share some photographs of what the gallery looks like.
Okay, let me.
I can handle that, John. Just
Okay,
a second
great.
here.
Yeah, I think I saw someone earlier asking kind of the same question about hanging as maybe one of the bigger questions about what, to actually use for hanging. I happened to stop by Phoenix Photo Lab yesterday and was asking them because the online ordering form didn't make it obvious what the different hanging options actually looked like. But their default one, if you're printing on their foam board, like the foam core, is just basically a hook. And I think, is that sufficient? Because you mentioned like
Sawtooth?
wire as well, but
Sawtooth?
yeah, it has sawtooth. It's
Okay.
pretty small, but it's sawtooth.
David, you want to handle that?
Yeah, the
David, do you have that picture?
mounting
You have the picture of the
has,
hook?
David,
yeah,
you there? Go ahead.
yeah, I'm here. For mounting the pictures, it needs to be on a wire hanger, so it can fit on the hooks. Let me share this picture of the. Let's see if this.
So
Yeah, try this.
what I need everybody to do while he's looking for that is we need to you need to send myself uh, the price that you guys would like to ask for your images. We're gonna have cards printed up for each image to put right next to the image. As you see there, you see there's some little placards beneath the pictures. We're going to do something like that so they'll all match, and it'll be designated that they are part of the AZPPA gallery showcase, and it'll have your name, the title, and also the price if you are interested in trying to sell your image.
Yeah, and if you're not interested in selling it, just put no, that you're not going to sell it. Just
Yeah. Just put NA. It's good.
and then here's another view of that gallery, and then one more. So it's a fairly good sized, and the pictures. Sometimes they've had pictures as large as roughly, let's say, 36 by 48 inch pictures. They've had smaller ones, but there's space for quite a few pictures in there.
Yeah, I think our list says nothing smaller than 20 inches on the long side and nothing larger than 40 inches on the long side.
Yeah, as you can see, some of these, and what they're doing is they're hanging from wires that are coming down from the ceiling, and there are hooks that are attached to that. Now, the one question has been about metal pictures, and they're reluctant to hang them because they've had situations where people have not had them properly adhered, or they don't have a large enough area for people to put the pictures on a hook. And the pictures have fallen, and with the metal prints, they fall on the floor, they hit a corner, and they're lost. They're gone. So they're reluctant to do that unless you do have, unless you accept the fact that these things might fall, because the mounting for most of the metal pictures are not really set up for a hook. They're set up for placing on a wall.
They're pretty thick hooks. I was looking at a picture. I think Andrew, you posted a picture of the hook, and I don't think they'll fit on a sawtooth.
David, do you have the picture of that hook that you sent me? That you
It's
showed
on my phone,
Okay.
but it's basically the hook. Most of the sawtooth images are basically not. They don't have enough depth. You need about a ½ inch depth or more in order for the picture to properly be hung on the hook. And most of the sawtooths are like 1/8 of an inch. So the sawtooths just don't work.
Okay. Did you want to talk about pricing a little bit, David?
Pricing, I've sold things over there for a price range of 100 to almost $400. Uh, if some of the really well-known artists in the area have been able to sell pictures up to about $800, but these are guys that are world famous artists that have come into the studio. A lot of the stuff is going to be seen by people that are from the local community, and they're more inclined to pay for something if it is in, I'd say, less than $200 or so. Pictures that I have sold one out of my studio there that was a 24 by 36 inch print, and I sold that for $400 because the person liked the style that I had. It was kind of an abstract photograph. So what you also have to consider is that there's a commission that WAM will collect. I believe it's 20 or 25%. So you have to include that into the your price of the pictures you're trying to sell. We can put in, you can put up business cards there if you want to, but it would be kind of something you just add on to your picture or whatever.
Were you typically selling them including frame, Dave, or were you just selling prints?
What I was doing was selling picture with the frame.
Can you guys see a picture of the hook that they use on your
Yes.
screen? I'll share my screen again. Is it up there?
Yes,
It is up there.
Okay. So you can see how thick that is and that a sawtooth would not really work on that.
So probably more advisable to actually frame the prints and bring them that way instead of,
Yeah, with a wire.
it's like they offer like the foam core backing kind of like we did last year at
Yeah, I think
Photo Lab,
you,
but I don't know that that's going to work because it looked like their hooks wouldn't be as amenable to that.
But
Um,
a wire hanger on the back would work on that hook.
Yes.
yeah,
Okay, thank you.
yeah. If you can get it on foam core, I mean, there's probably some way to attach it with a command strip or command hook adhesive.
In the
Fair
past,
enough.
they have
Okay.
had some people have put their artwork on foam core, and what they tried to do is glue a wire onto the back of the foam core, but they didn't do a very good job of it a lot of times, and the glue detached from the foam core, or the wire slipped through the whatever they used to attach it to the foam core, and then the picture will fall on the floor. So you got to make sure that if you're putting it on a foam core, which is okay, you just want to make sure that whatever you're putting, however you're attaching it to the foam core, that it's secure.
Yeah. Andrew and Paul and I and Nancy will be there, and we will make sure that what you have is what's going to work. Please try to do the best you can to have something with a wire on the back. And if we have to do some jury rigs on the fly, we'll end up doing that, and hopefully it'll work. But we don't want to damage your prints. David, do we have to sign some kind of waiver, I think, for damage?
There will be, yes, a waiver is going to be required for damage.
Okay, can you get me a copy of that, or Andrew, and so we can send it out to everybody and they can have that signed and submit it when we get their prints?
Okay.
Great. So I've already gotten a couple people that sent me what prices they want on their images. So if you guys can do that when you get some time, so we know when we print up the cards that we have the prices on there as well.
Now, just to let you know, also, if there is a need, if somebody waits till the last minute, and or if the day of the event they decide to change the print, I do have a resource to get prints turned around rapidly. As long as it's no wider than 24. I have a 24-inch wide printer, so I can quickly do something if at the last minute we need something for the show.
You got a dot matrix 24-inch wide?
Yeah.
Great.
I'm not dot matrix, but a 24-inch wide Canon Pro 2000.
Okay.
And what is the deadline again for getting our prints to you guys?
The 30th of December. I think did John, did you talk to Alan?
John, don't you mean 30th of November? Not
I'm
December.
sorry, 30th of November. What did I say?
December.
No, I'm not even going to be here, so I don't care. The 30th of November. Thanks, David. John,
Or you can bring it directly to Wham on the 1st.
on the 1st.
Yeah.
Yes, you
okay.
can. Between the hours of Andrew?
Good question. I don't think we've figured that out yet.
Yeah, I think it was going to be between the hours of, they're open on Sundays, right? David?
Your
They're not
previous
open
email
on
says
Sunday.
12 p.m. to 2 p.m.
No, they're not open. But when I talked to what's her name, David?
Well, I'm a docent there, so I can open up the place and
Yeah.
I can be there.
Yeah, she said it wouldn't be a problem to come. She actually preferred us to come in on Sunday because it was closed.
And
Yeah.
Kyle, you said we did advertise it was 12 to 2 on the 1st. Yeah.
Yeah, that's since I'll be there, there's no limit as far as the time.
Yeah, that's just the time to drop it off. It's
Yeah.
gonna take us a little bit longer to hang all of
Right.
those.
The other thing about what's happening on December 7th is that Wham is having their annual charity event during the day, which is Bowls of Hope. And right out in front of the gallery, they're going to have a whole selection of different bowls that people can buy for $10 to $15 each. And all the proceeds go to 6 different charities in the Valley. And so there'll be lots of people coming in, and they'll be coming in to take a look at the gallery and going into the gift shop. And there's also artwork that's hung along the walls farther back in beyond the gallery. So there's going to be a good visibility of people coming in, taking a look at these things on that Sunday, on the 7th of December.
Great. Good info.
If we are out of town, since I live in Tucson, can we have our pictures mailed directly from the lab to one of you?
If they're complete and ready to hang,
Yeah.
okay.
Which one of you four should receive that?
Well, I would not suggest sending them to me just simply because that I'm packing and getting ready for a move, so I don't want anything to get lost.
I can do it, Ellen. Just send it to the studio.
Okay. Very good.
Let me jump in there. I travel back and forth from Tucson almost every week.
Oh,
Who's this?
And it's
Chris?
Chris.
Okay.
And I'm doing that right now. However, help me, I don't have a calendar in front of me. Next week is Thanksgiving. And then when is the 1st? Because you guys need these by the 1st.
That is a Sunday.
All right.
That is, yeah, that
So
is the
this
Sunday
coming-
after Thanksgiving.
So I need to pick them up next week. Is that correct? From Tucson.
Yes, if you and Ellen want to do that. If not, I mean, if she wants to ship it to me, and that saves everybody time. But yeah, it would have to be sooner than later.
I won't. Yeah, I'm sorry. I won't be there next week because next week is Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah,
Is
thank
there
you.
anybody?
Thank you, Chris.
Which leads me to the next question.
Okay.
You're welcome. How do we pick our stuff up?
Okay, what will happen is that if you can't make it to pick it up on the day that we're shutting it down, it will be picked up by our
I'll take it.
committee and it will be delivered to the next PPA meeting, which is probably the open house. Is that right?
Okay.
I'll pick up anybody's work that doesn't, bring it back and secure it safely, and then bring it to the meeting.
thank you.
And then
Okay, who
final
else?
question: How do you want this packaging done to drop off drop off the print, drop off the frame work? What are you looking for? What's your expectation?
Well, if it's not in a box, bubble wrap would probably work. You want to protect your print, especially if it's framed or even if it's not framed. So I would probably prefer if it's not
Perfect.
framed, cardboard, bubble wrap,
That's
whatever.
all I need to know. Thank you.
Taped up.
Thank
And,
you.
and Chris, you're in Tucson? Chris?
I travel between Tucson and Buckeye. Sorry, can you
Okay.
hear me there?
Yeah. So how are you getting your prints to us?
I travel between Tucson and Buckeye.
Okay, how are you getting your prints to us?
I will drop them off.
Okay.
I will drop them off at whoever's near Buckeye.
That's me. Okay, John, Ellen, you guys are in Tucson. Is there anybody else out of town? Bruce, I've already talked to you.
Well, me, Nicole here, I'm out of town and I'm trying to decide. I may have to ship it to you, Andrew, if that's okay, from my lab. 'Cause
Okay,
I
Ellen,
don't-
I'll give you a call tomorrow, Ellen, about I'm going to be down there on Thanksgiving Day. Maybe I might be able to get it from you and John.
That'd be great.
Okay, I'll call you with details.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it, John.
Anybody else having an issue with being out of town?
Me, Nicole, can you hear me?
Yeah, well, besides you, Nicole, I'm sorry. You already said you were going to drop it off with Andrew.
Probably,
Yeah,
Anne Marie is not on this call, but she's out in Prescott, so she might have an issue, or not an issue, but she'll need to coordinate something.
Yeah, okay.
Can you recommend a good size to print? What would be overall recommend? I know I got your measurements, but what do you think would be a good size?
Depends on
You know,
the,
it can't be smaller than like 20 inches on the long side. So that's 16 by 20 first on the small size. Depends on what your image is and what the format is and what they offer,
Okay.
your printers offer.
So 16 by 20 is a good size?
That would be fine. David, you think that would be fine?
Yeah, 16 by 16 by 20, 20 by 20, 24, 20 by 30. Larger prints appeal to people more.
yeah, I did 12 by 36, Nicole. Mine are all panoramics, but I did 12 by 36.
Okay.
I'm gonna cut him in half so we get two pictures out of each of Andrew's. So any other questions, guys?
Also,
I
I
can't wait
think
to
if
see
you,
these images in person.
Yeah, they're gonna be
Over Zoom, they're
fantastic.
just so compressed and pixelated, but I can't wait to see them all in person. I think they're gonna be beautiful.
Yep, agreed. Okay, everyone. Julie, you're going to be putting this online.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So you can watch it again, the last part with questions if you missed a question, or if you want to hear some good feedback on your image if you're thinking of putting this image into state competition, because that is perfectly legal if you're going to be entering state competition. Amy will not be a judge for state competition, so any questions, you give Andrew, myself, Nancy, Paul a call, and we'll steer you in the right direction.
and also if you want to, you can put a QR code next to your photograph as well if you want to use that as a means of advertising.
Sure, good idea. QR code, we can, if you send that to us as well, we can get that on the sign, the little placard.
Very cool. Anybody else have anything else? Rick Jacoby, you've been quiet over there.
Maybe he took a nap. I don't know.
He probably fell asleep halfway through.
I'm guessing he fell asleep. Yeah, it's past his bedtime.
It is. It is.
All right.
Okay, guys.
Thank you so much, John, Andrew, Nancy, and Paul. Then this is great. Like I said, I can't wait to see these images in person.
And David.
I think it's a great representation of our members' work.
Yeah, thanks, David.
You're welcome.
Oh, and David, yes, sorry, David, bring the point man over at Wham.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.